switching to a new microphone. How about that? That's much better, isn't it? Hear me better now? I hope so. Yeah, for some reason that microphone, it's not being kind to me at the moment. I thought I'd fixed it, but I think I need to purchase a new one. It's lucky I've got a backup on my head. So there we go. It could be that my voice as well, with the fact I lost my voice the other day, is making things a little bit rubbish. So it looks like we've got pretty much everyone we're expecting into the room. Some names I don't recognise, but I'm assuming that's just because they're using their nicknames and stuff. But yeah, looking forward to this. Lap times, we're looking probably. I haven't seen any of these guys racing, but from experience myself and looking, I think we're looking at qualifying somewhere around the 155. About a 155 to 158, there or thereabouts, I think is the kind of region we're looking in. But qualifying to start in 3 minutes time. We're expecting, I think, 11 runners, and we've got 11 in the room, so that's a good start. Awesome start. I think we're expecting 11 runners. Let me just check. No, we're expecting 12 runners, so 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, we're expecting 12. So one more. Waiting for one more to arrive, and then we can get cracking with some racing. I'll be back very shortly. Just whacking my do not disturb on, because I'll get quite a lot of messages throughout races. It can be quite off-putting. So in terms of, I mean, although you can't really look at DR and SR as any kind of indications to a driver's pace. I know many D-rated drivers who are super quick. But we've got 3 A+ drivers, and you would expect to see them doing quite well. There are 5 A-rated drivers, a B-rated, a C-rated, a D-rated, no, there's another A+ coming in, and there's obviously me, C-rated, but I don't race significantly enough to have any sort of real good rating. But GT, a couple of drivers from GT Mexico, looking forward to seeing them. It was a GTMX driver last night that did very well here on the Friday night group. So we've just had, I think, the 2-minute warning or the 1-minute warning. So qualifying is about to start. The room will be reset. Everyone will tick in, and then we'll get cracking with some juicy qualifying. Why is there no Group O, Arminess? There's still no Group O lobby. Who's supposed to be doing Group O? Monty's supposed to be doing it because Jay is unavailable. Can your bandit do it? Because there's supposed to be 3 of you in. There's 4. Well, there are 3 black flag drivers in there. Arminess. Yeah, there's 2 backup hosts, and they were made aware this morning that that Jay was unavailable to do the lobby today. So, is there any way lastminute.com that you could cover maybe? That you or Bandit could get the lobby running? Unfortunately, I can't be in 2 places at once. They still haven't made a lobby. Have you sent them a message, mate, to see what they're doing? Because I know that there's a few people who are a bit confused about time, and I know someone in this lobby that thought we were supposed to start an hour ago, and I think there's a couple in Slipstream's lobby that seem to think it starts an hour later. Do you think it's an issue with them not understanding that the way that time works? Might be worth dropping them a message, buddy, because I think that could be the issue. I would help you out with that, but I'm kind of hands full over here. So just waiting for the lobby to be reset. Everyone's in the room that needs to be here. I don't know what else to suggest, buddy, other than maybe if you guys get a lobby up between you, are you able to do that and see if you can get hold of the people that are supposed to be in there? It looks to me that there's a few people that haven't really understood the timing, which shouldn't be something complicated to do, because we've all got access to Google and phones and stuff, and we didn't seem to have a problem with working out what time it was supposed to start. In fact, most people haven't had a problem finding out what time it's supposed to start. There's one guy in the lobby here that thought we were supposed to start an hour ago, but other than that, yeah, everybody else is absolutely fine. Okay, so we are about to start qualifying here. As soon as we start, we'll start going through and seeing just how quick people are. Let's have it. So good luck to all the pilots. Really looking forward to this one. Best of luck, everybody. So who is going to blink first? Who's going to be the first to jump out of the pits and get going? What we'll do with that will be the one. So Jackal, the host, he is out on track. And what we'll do, we'll actually do an on board with Jackal. So you can see turn one, and you can see it kind of it gets tighter as you turn into it. So you do have to sort of slow down on the way through. Then you come into the S's, and this is where you kind of feathering the throttle, feathering the brake, just to get yourself in and out of these left and right, left and right, left and right. Little S section. Before you sweep round here, this is the last time you'll be feathering that throttle, because you get on the power, heading up the hill, and you want to stay to this left-hand side. Not really giving it full beans just yet, just getting some warmth into those tyres. No, there isn't any in this one, TJ. Then it's right-hander, followed by a second right-hander, quite a deep one. Heading up the hill under the bridge, and you want to stay on this left-hand side as you head up the hill, before it sweeps round to the right into the braking zone for the first of this kind of double big switchback left-handers. Then we sweep round here, and we continue sweeping round to the right-hand side, up under the Suzuka circuit sign, just slowly climbing up the hill. It's quite a small elevation change here before we head into this, and it's two quarters, but it is a kind of double apex left-hander, where you want to hit both apexes good. You want to make sure with the first one, if you sacrifice a bit of speed to give yourself a better exit out of the second one, then that's what you want to do. This is where you start to ramp up the power as you head down towards 130R and the Casio triangle. Sweeping around that left-hand side into the Casio triangle we go. Hard on the brakes, get it turned in nice and early, and then you can sweep round to the left and then power through to start your lap here at Suzuka. Here we go, heading into turn one. Jackal looking very, very racing. I love the way that he ramped it up. He didn't go out there full beans for his outlap. He looked after the tyres and just made sure he got some heat into the tyre. I like Suzuka, TJ. I like Suzuka to watch. I'm just not a big fan of driving it. I find it an incredibly difficult racetrack. But it's a great track to broadcast and to watch, because it's always good racing here. My problem has never been with broadcasting Suzuka. It's been with driving on it. So Jackal is the first to settle, Jackal from Greece. We've got Sosi, I don't know where the badges from. I'm gonna have to swat up on my badges and try and learn what the countries everyone's from. It's not Mexico I'm talking about. Mexico's further down. There is Toretto. How you doing, Gennaro? Sturpan from Greece. I've seen him race quite a lot. He's currently running fourth on the track, but no time set just yet, of course. Nico from France. There is Bocchiana. That's Poland, that flag. Another Greek driver, Manos 1. Max, Super Max. So good, they named him twice. From Italia. Massi, also from Italia. Tom Lifoy. I'm really not very good with pronunciations. And Quetzalcoatl and Macrable. So, I was expecting 155s, and we just see Jackal chuck in an absolutely astounding 151.2. So this lobby full of very, very fast drivers, and Sturpan with a 52.3 straight out the back, puts himself on the front row, but only briefly. Manos 1 goes 51.1, and him and Jackal share that front row. Just Jackal being busted down into the second position there. Max, Super Max, is on row 2 with Bocchiana, who have busted now Sturpan down to row 3, which he shares now with Nico. Tom Biff, I'm going to go with Tom. I'm going to call him Tom. Tom in on row 4 with Quetzalcoatl in 8th place, joining him on row 4. And that is the Mexico flag. Serbia, thank you very much. I knew I recognised the flag, but I wasn't entirely sure where it was. Yeah, cheers for that, TJ. So Sosi on row 5, Sosi from Serbia, with Macrable joining him on row 5. Row 6 is Toretto, named after, of course, Dominic Toretto from Fast and Furious, with Massi bringing up the rear in 12th place. You can see the soft tyres here really do not give you very much time at all. You need to get in and change them out pretty rapidly. Manos 1 on pole at the moment, 151, 125, and just 0.08 seconds separate him and Jackal, who's done over 51 to 1-2. Very close between those two drivers. Max, Super Max, 8 tenths back from pole position on row 2. And Bocchiana is just a couple of tenths behind him in terms of pace. And they're putting in I think they're all going to dive in the pits. Essentially, it is out lap, hot lap, in lap on these soft compound tyres. The wear very, very high, so they need to get in pretty darn quickly. Jackal coming back out now. He's on another out lap. And looking to improve on that time. So this is how we look after everyone's put in their first hot laps. It's Manos 1 and Jackal on row 1. Max and Bocchiana on row 2. Sturpan and Nico on row 3. Tom and Quetzalcoatl on row 4. Sosi and Macrable on row 5. Toretto and Massi bring up row 6. So everyone having another little crack, seeing if they can improve on their time. Because the tyre wear is so high here, and as racetracks go, this is quite an abrasive racetrack on the tyres. We're going to find that there's going to be a lot of running on hard compound tyres because you want to get a kind of rhythm going. Now the cars look awesome, really, really awesome looking cars. Should we have a look at some liveries? Let's do that. Right, let's have a look at some liveries, see what people are chucking out. So there is your pole sitter Manos 1 for the racing team, for THG, and that's a really, really cool looking livery now, that red and white, really cool livery. Shame you can't show the black one, well you could see the black one if you look at my car, but I haven't got it on the racetrack obviously. There is Jackal from GTGC, that's the Gran Turismo Greek community of course. Really, really cool looking. And the car is cool anyway, whatever livery you got on it. There's Max, Super Max, Gone for a very kind of basic black colour, but it's a really, really cool looking car, that. Really cool looking. Bocciano for EES, and that's very vibrant, very kind of in your face, and the sort of colour contrast with the purple and the green. You wouldn't have thought it would work, but it really does work quite well. Sturpan for HKRT. We've seen this before. It's a very we know that Kevin, the head of HKRT, is very good at chucking out some deliveries, and I love what he's done with the lights. It makes them look like eyes. Nico for OMR, and that's good black and red. Very, very, very basic, but works incredibly well. Tom, no, the number one was always in the modular cars already. That's the GT Mexico, and very, very Mexican inspired colours there. Straight out, it's essentially a Mexican flag covered in some writing. Saucy for the ESR, that's very, very cool in front of the car. And you can see they've gone for that black and white kind of split on either side, and it's really, really cool. Same again there, very, very cool from there. Toretto, we've seen the OMR car, and then Massey, again the modular car, looking very, very cool. Anyway, in terms of lap times, Manos 1 is now on another hot lap. Really haven't got much time to put in super hot laps, because on the soft tyres you've essentially got you've got 2 laps going in and out of the pits, so you're wasting 3 laps for every one hot lap here, so you really have to make those hot laps count. And Manos 1 currently on pole. His best lap was a 1:51.1. We'll see as he goes through the next sector if he's up on that time. At the moment, Jackal trying to, he's only 8 tenths back, the Jackal. The Mexican one's cool, isn't it? I really like the Mexican one. Yeah, the GTMX one is really, really cool. So the Jackal does improve, puts himself on pole. That's a 1:50.9 for the Jackal. Manos 1 trying to come back at him. He's got to find about 2. If he finds 2 tenths on his previous time, he'll find himself back on pole position as he rounds that final corner and heads to the line. I'm not sure he's done enough, or has he? Yes, he has, and puts himself back on pole. Nicks more than 2 tenths as Max, Super Max, takes Manos 1 off pole almost immediately before he has time to even think about celebrating. Max, Super Max, puts himself on pole and takes that away from him. So it's his Max on pole with Manos 1 joining him on that front row. The Jackal relegated again to row 2 with Sturpan, about half a second slower at the moment. And I mean, this is how close it is. He's, nearly half a second slower than the Jackal in third, but it's only 6.5 tenths slower than pole. So really, really close between everyone there. Tom is just 1 second slower than Max on pole. He's of course on a hot lap, right? Oh no, he's not on a hot lap. He's put in his last hot lap was a 1:51.8. Has he got enough on his tyres to do another hot lap? It looks like he might well do. Didn't really seem to put too much through his tyres the last time out. So potentially got another lap of another hot lap to go, and he's currently 2 tenths up on his time. But in order to come past up, and he's going to fight to find another couple of tenths in this last couple of sectors. Nico, he's half a second down on his time. Bocciano, best lap for him, 52.1. Didn't improve on lap 5. Probably not got enough on his tyres. He may well do, I suppose. He may well have enough just to give himself another hot lap. And Quetzalcoatl, 53.0. He did improve. He improved by 3 tenths, but he's almost a second back from Bocciano in 7th. Macrobal is 2.2 seconds behind the leader, just 0.02 seconds slower than Quetzalcoatl. If he can find a couple of hundreds here, he can find himself bumping up the order just a touch. Toretto, he is 1:53.1, has improved. This will be his in-lap now. He's going to try and get that car back home. Sosi, 2.3 from the leader, just a couple of hundredths slower than Toretto, but he's on the grass, and you can't park that there, so. Massey coming out, one last go. Has he got enough time? That's the question. He's going to have to get round and then try and get back on the power, and well, that's an interesting line through there. I wouldn't take that line personally, but each to their own. So Max, Super Max, he's got one more go at this. He went into the pits. He's going on another outlap and trying to have one more blast at securing that pole position. Currently holds it just by 7/100ths of a second over Manos 1. There is Manos 1, picking up a little bit of slipstream from the car ahead of him, which is Nico. And hopefully he can find a way, a way to find those extra couple of hundredths. The Jackal looking really racy to start off with, but just can't find. I mean, it's the difference between the Jackal and pole position is less than 2/10 of a second. That's how close those guys are. 2/10 separates the top 3, and just 6.5 separate the top 4. So Sturpan a little bit behind on the pace, but has improved. 1:51.4 for him, and he's got one more blast at putting in a hot lap if he can. So who's going to cross the line next and give us a hot lap when we go? Let's have a look. Who we got there? There we go. There is Sturpan. So he crossed the line. He is on a hot lap now. Last opportunity as the clock ticks down and gives everyone the... So if you haven't crossed the line now and you don't set a time now, it is done and dusted for you, my friend. So Jackal, I think he's resigned himself to 3rd place, which is fine. It's second row is not bad at all. Plenty of racing to be doing. Of course, 7 laps straight from this. Then we go into the 15-lap race, which is a reverse grid. And there we go. So Max, Super Max, and what a name to have when you put yourself on pole. We see a lot of Max on pole at the moment, and we do again there. A great pole position from him, and he joined on that front row by Manos 1. The Jackal and Sturpan together on row 2. It is Tom and Nico on row 3. Bocchiana and Quetzalcoatl from GTMX. That's TJ and I's favourite livery. They are on row 4. I'm really sorry about the squeak, guys. I don't normally sound this squeaky, but it is what it is. Macroball and Toretto on row 5, and Solsi and Massa round off the drivers with 11th and 12th position. So really solid lap from Max Super Max. It's a 150.8. I would imagine with a qualifying time like that, race pace is going to be somewhere in the region of a sort of, I suppose on the medium tyres you're looking at somewhere around a 52, 53. Hard tyres somewhere closer to 54, 55. Something along those lines. But we will see what we will see. And if you think my voice is squeaky now, I'm broadcasting until the very early hours of the morning, and the clock's actually going forward here in the UK as well, so it's going to be somewhere near 4 AM before I get anywhere near a pillow and some sleep. It's going to be a long night. Lots of World Championship racing going on this evening. I'm trying to keep myself hydrated so I don't lose my voice completely. So there we go. That's everybody has set their representative time. Sturpan sitting in the pits having a little rest. Just waiting for the clock to tick down, and then we can get cracking. So 7 laps. It's going to take us about 15 minutes there or thereabouts, and then we go straight from that. We reverse the grid and then straight into a 15-lap race, which will be somewhere around 30 minutes. It should take us just past 9 PM. We're going to have a 10-minute break before we go again and get cracking with it. So let's go. Arminis, did you guys manage to sort out your problem with with lobby O. Is it now up and running? So if I it's probably down to the lobby host, but I will let me do it this way actually. Let me screenshot these just in case we need them. There we go. Done and dusted. Done and done and done. Right, so the grid is set. Everyone get your tires on. Let's get cracking. No hanging about for today because we've got racing to. We've got a lot of racing to do, so we don't want to be hanging about. Those front three very, very close in terms of pace. So it'd be interesting to see what strategies they employ, firstly, and how quickly they can. You didn't put heavy damage on, right? So we need to. So a quick reset of the lobby and then manually setting the grid to get it done, which slows things down somewhat. But I suppose it is what it is. There's always going to be teething problems. I don't quite understand. Yeah, you've been practicing all week, so surely you'll have them saved. But you know, it is what it is, I suppose. We didn't need to do that. Could have just gone and reset the lobby. There we go. Right, just waiting for this lobby to be reset. So, if you're new to GTFusion, let me give you a little rundown of what happens. 6 races a year, just 1 a month until the summer, and then we have a little break so everyone can go on holiday and get some sun and do what they're going to do, and then we come back and do another 3 races towards the end of the year. And your position is based on an ELO, so the qualifying times that you put in are looked at, and to an extent your kind of how your racing goes. And the idea is that you race with people around your level on a regular basis. So if you are significantly fast, you should move up through the lobbies. If you're significantly slower, you should move down through the lobbies. So eventually you find yourself in and amongst those your peers, essentially, the people that are racing at your kind of pace. That's the plan, anyway. Obviously, you know, when we start out, you know, there are a few drivers that haven't had an opportunity to race with GTFusion before, and you kind of have to, you kind of guesstimate their pace compared to people that are already in it. But we soon see who ends up where. And I do hope we manage to sort out the Group O lobby, because Black Flag got 3 drivers in that lobby. It'd be really disappointing if the hosts didn't sort it out. It was a shame actually, because one of our drivers was supposed to be hosting it, but he couldn't make the race this evening due to other commitments, and that has meant that the backup hosts have been employed but disappeared. So I don't understand why this is taking so long now. Right, room settings done. Everyone in the pits, everyone ticked in. Let's get the grid set. Let's get cracking. Don't like to have a delay. We're 25 minutes in, and we've done our 15-minute qualifying. We've still got 15 minutes of racing to go, and starting soon. So everyone get your tyres on. So I think it's going to be really, I think it's going to be interesting. Max, Manos 1 and Jackal, all similar in pace. I think their strategies, it depends on how much their strategies line up as to how close we're going to see them racing. It could well be they opt for slightly differing strategies, which makes it quite difficult to judge until after the pit stops as to where people are going to be pace wise. There is quite a difference in pace differential between the soft and the medium and the hard compound tyre. The mediums and the hards are required tyres. You must use both of those in both the 7 lap and the 15 lap endurance race. So the only time really I think we're going to see the softs is if anyone decides to run a 2-stopper in either race. Unlikely, I think, bearing in mind that you can only really get 3 laps out of it, and out of those 3 laps you can only really get one solidly quick lap, because your first lap's an out lap, and then you've got your in lap, of course. Right, so here we are in the room. We'll bring up all the details we need. We will have some lights go on, and the lights will go out, and we will be away. So there is 3, there's 4, there's 5 lights. They'll go out, and GTFusion 2023 is underway. This is Group G, and everyone seems to get a really good start and head down to turn 1. No real problems into turn 1. How safely are we through there? Max going wide, losing a couple of places. Manos 1 up into the lead. Jackal moves up to 2nd. Max loses 2 places, just going a little bit wide there into turn 1. It looked like he was trying to avoid any potential knockings, but he lost himself a couple of places. Sturban holds on to 4th. So Manos 1 on the hard compound. In fact, everyone is starting on the hard compound tyres. Interesting, because I would have expected 1 or 2 to maybe have a little crack with the mediums and run short in the initial in the initial stage of this race. But Manos 1 showing incredibly good pace, and that is Max, Super Max. He's off the track, and I'm sorry, my friend, you can't park that there, son. And he is way at the back, lost control of that car. 1.5 second penalty to boot as well. So all that pace in qualifying counts for naught. He is now 5.7 seconds back behind the Serbian driver, so much work now for Max to do. Started so well as well. Qualifying was absolutely awesome for him. Jackal starting to close that gap on Manos 1 as they start to pull away from the rest of the pack. That's a 1.6 second gap already over Nico, running in 3rd position. 0.7 of a second back to Bocciano, running in 4th place. He's a half second up from Tom. Sturpan losing a few places, drops down to 6th position. Quetzalcoatl in 7th. He's a half second back from Sturpan. Toretto 0.3 back in the OMR car. Massey in 9th. There's Macrable in 10th place. Saucy in 11th. And Max, Super Max, 9.6 seconds adrift now. He served that penalty, but he had a bad start, lost a couple of places from the start. Then he found himself as coming into sector 2, sector 3, just losing control of the car, had a little dink, and now he's got to try with damage to catch back up to the back of the pack. He's clearly got the pace, but it's a lot of work to do now. Only 7 laps in this first 4 races here for GTFusion, and this marks the start of the 15th year of GTFusion. Who would have thought that 15 years ago we were doing this kind of online sim racing? Obviously, no, we didn't have the kind of equipment back then that we've got now. Things have changed somewhat since then, and we certainly didn't have the broadcasting capacity back then to do it as we do now. So enjoy, absolutely enjoy. Manos 1. That gap down to 0.4 of a second as Jackal starts to close in, and they are pulling away now from the rest of the pack. Nico trying to keep it under 2 seconds, that gap, but struggling, I think, to match that pace out front. He's 2.4 seconds off the leader now, is Nico, with the Polish driver behind him just under a second. So he's going to be picking up a little bit of slipstream as they head down now towards 130R here. And this is by far the fastest part of the racetrack they're on as we speak. Tom is 8/10 back. Sturpan, it's a bit of a slipstream train at the moment. They're all kind of giving each other a little bit of slipstream. So it's very difficult to, you've got slipstream on the car in front, but he's got slipstream from the car in front of him. He has some work to do. Indeed. So, Quetzalcoatl, Kaguaman, say his name, Kaguaman. Quetzalcoatl in 5th place as we speak. He's 1.5 seconds behind Tom, and 1.9 seconds clear of Massey. He's not giving up any slipstream, but he's not getting any either. So if it's key. Oh, and ahead of him, Tom makes a mistake, and that's a place gained. And these cars so twitchy. You put one wheel on the grass or on the wrong curb, and all of a sudden It's night, and Max Super Max is pitting very, very early for medium compound tyres, and I think he's going to struggle to take those mediums to the end of this race. I think 4 laps on these mediums is probably about right. Yeah, you could do 5 laps on them if you were really, really looking after them, but when you're that far back, I think the last thing you want to do is have to put excessive loads through your best tyre. Here's 12 seconds back from Toretto. The French driver 2.5 behind Sturpan from the NSX Racing team. The Greek driver 2.5 seconds behind Nico from La France. 5 seconds back from the Italian driver Tom, who was still having a little wobble and getting himself sideways. He is 1.5 seconds behind the Serbian driver Suzuka. And can he close that gap? He has showed good early pace. Macrable 1.1 seconds ahead of Suzuka, 2.4 behind the Italian driver Massi. He is 2.2 behind the Mexican driver Quetzalcoatl. Sorry, bear with me. So everyone in the pits, bar Nico. Nico stays out for another lap, and of course, we know that we can't actually go through this pit bug. I apologise for the noise in the background. My dog's going nuts because people just come home. Max Super Max pit a lap early. He's trying to get closer, but a little bit far back. It's going to be very difficult for him. Doesn't make up any positions at all, but has cut the gap down to 3.1 seconds or 2.5 seconds. Still cutting. So everyone now switched to those medium compound tyres. 0.6 of a second. Manos leads over Jackal. That gap has come down between second and third. Nico closing in now on the back of Jackal after that pit stop, and Sturpan back up to 4th place. So really good position for him. Tyre wise, Nico I think pitted a lap earlier, so he's got a little bit more wear to worry about on those medium tyres, which could come to bite him later on in the race. Bocciano 1.2 seconds behind the Greek driver Sturpan, and it's 3.7 seconds back to Quetzalcoatl of Mexico. So full rundown from the back, shall we? Max Super Max has really closed that gap now. He's starting to try and save his race. 0.3 of a second off the back of Suzuka, and trying to find a way through. He's clearly faster. Can he find a way through here? This is going to be an ideal place to make up the position. Gets a good exit on that power. Can he make this count and find a way through? At the moment, Suzuka holding on. Suzuka with a little bit slipstream from Tom in front of him, which is going to help him stay ahead. But that is going to be, at the moment, it's a purple sector there. Very, very wide Macrable. That allows Tom to go through. Under braking, there's a spin. There's a spin on Super Max. That's a reset to track. That is a reset to track, and that is cheating, I'm afraid. So Suzuka got a little bit squirrely, caught Super Max, and he's now 2 seconds back, and Super Max just ahead of him. 4.9 seconds of back of Macrable, but that coming together was not ideal for Super Max. Nothing you can do about it. I think he's under braking. He was trying to make that move. Every right to have a go on the inside there. The gap was there, but Suzuka just loses control of his car, and that ended up catching Super Max, and making his life very, very difficult. So Manos 1 still leads this race, half a second clear of Jackal. It's a 2 second gap back to Nico. Nico was putting on a bit of a charge and closing up on those front two, but has not been able to sustain that, and now just dropping out of slipstream and back towards the welcoming arms of Sturpan in 4th position. 2.4 seconds back to Bocciano. Not making any inroads into the Greek driver as we speak. Quetzalcoatl from Mexico 4 seconds back. 11 seconds off the lead of this race. It's 3.8 seconds back to Massey, who is 7/10 clear of Toretto at the moment. Toretto desperately trying to find a way through, and he's close enough to really get a charge on here. Can he get... what he needs to do here is use this slipstream here just to get him close to the back of Massey. And then coming out of the Casio triangle, wants to be just a little bit closer and use that slipstream to make a move up into turn 1 potentially. Not getting a good exit through there, actually lost some time through there, so not going to be able to make the move, certainly on this lap. This is the penultimate lap of the first race of 7 laps in this sprint race, and we'll take this grid and we'll reverse it for race number 2, which will be 15 glorious laps. It is Manos 1 now, opening up the gap, just putting in a purple sector there. Currently has the fastest lap with a 52.6. He is now a second clear of Jackal, no longer giving up any toe to Jackal behind him. 2.8 seconds between Jackal and Nico. Nico currently running in that Honda just under a second behind Manos 1, with Nico 3.1 seconds back, and now not really closing. In fact, he's dropping a little bit into the path of Sturpan, but not enough for Sturpan really to make any inroads, but certainly not catching those 2 drivers out in front. Tyre-wise, the medium tyres seem to be holding out okay. The one who I am worried about though is Max, Super Max. He pit really early on those medium tyres, and I think towards the tail end of lap 7 he's going to be struggling. He is 4.9 seconds ahead of Sosi, with who he had coming together a couple of laps ago into Casio Triangle, and then he used the dreaded receptor track trick rather than just drive his car, which is a little bit naughty, but bound to need to hand out penalties for that. Manos 1, fastest lap of the race with a 1:52.6, ramping it up now. He's 1.2 seconds clear heading into the final lap. The Jackal holding on, but barely now. He's finding that every lap, every corner, Manos 1 is just finding a little bit more time every single corner, really showing some great pace out there. 3.6 seconds back to Nico. I think he's basically secured himself a top 3 spot here, and should, to all intents and purposes, take that 3rd place. Of course, unless something untoward happens. Sturpan is not closing on Nico, in fact dropping away from Nico, and 1.3 seconds back to Bocchiano, with Quetzalcoatl 5.4 back in 2nd place. 4.7 seconds to Massey in 7th, with 1.1 to Toretto, half second to Tom, 5.6 to Macroball, 1.2 back to Supermax, and 4.9 to Sosi. But here is your race leader, Manos 1 from Greece, now 1.7 seconds clear, and the fastest man on the track, quite consistently fast as well, in the mid 52s. Last couple of laps he's been on those medium compound tyres. Needed a lap to get up to speed with a 1:58.4. Now finding some really good pace on those medium compound tyres, and just enough fuel to get him to the end of this race. 1.7 seconds clear he finds himself of Jackal. And Nico dropping further and further away from the back of Jackal, but still not anywhere near getting into the hands of Sturban. So here comes Manos. He's got a couple of corners left. He comes round that final corner, and Manos takes the win. 2nd for Jackal. Nico round that final corner. He will take 3rd. Sturpan comes home in 4th, with Bocchiano just 0.6 behind in 5th place. Quetzalcoatl in 6.5 seconds back in 6th place, 5.1 seconds to Massey. Tom is half a second back in 8th, 1.1 to Toretto. Then Macroball comes home in 10th. Max, Super Max, who was your pole sitter, finishes in 11th place, with Solsi bringing up the rear in 12th position. There you go, that's your lineup, and we'll reverse the grid for race number 2. Awesome racing from everybody. They're really close out front as well. But there is your man, Manos 1, who takes the top step of the podium. congratulations to him. Yeah, that's enough of all that. Right, back shortly. So great start to season 15 of the GTFusion World Team Championships. We should be reversing the grid straight away and getting cracking with the second race. Everyone's ticked in, so you just need to set the grid and then get cracking. It will be 15 laps. Yes, I mean, even we've reset the lobby yet. We do need to get that lobby reset and get cracking. Time is of the essence, of course. We do not want this to be dragging on. I'm a little bit concerned that we're already 45 minutes into a race and we've done one 15-minute race. A little bit concerning, especially because I have another broadcast to do after this. So we need to get moving, folks. So this next race should be just under half an hour of racing. 15 laps here around Suzuka. Everyone needs to just tick in so they can do the reverse grid and get cracking with it. There's no reason why we shouldn't be getting started straight away. And I do apologise for the croakiness in my voice yet again. Out of my control, unfortunately. Some confusion from Bocchiano there, who seems to think that I need to tick in. I don't, because I'm the broadcaster. If you're paying attention, you know that, wouldn't you? So we're waiting. We've had a disconnection, so we're waiting for Max to get back, which is just further adding to the delays here, which is a little bit frustrating. But, you know, it is what it is, of course, it is what it is. But it is reverse grid from race number one. Max, Super Max, will be starting on the front row, alongside, I can't remember who finished last place now. It would involve me actually remembering. It should still be, shouldn't it? There we go. Just screenshot these just in case. So, this is how the grid will look. It will be Sosi, then Supermax on row 1. Row 2 will be Macrobal and Toretto. Row 3 will be Tom and Massey. Quetzalcoatl and Bocchiano on row 4. Sturpan and Nico on row 5. And row 6 will be Jacko and Manos 1, who absolutely stonking win in that first race. it looks like Max is returning to the room, which will be awesome. And there is Max, he has returned, ticked in, so we can now get cracking with setting the grid and get cracking with race number 2, which is 15 laps here around Suzuka on a reverse grid, which was set by the sprint race. Good evening, Jay. So we are underway, race number 2, 15 laps. Good evening, Jay. Did they sort out lobby O in the end, mate? Right, that's 5 lights. The lights go out and away we go. Sosi leads the way. Max, Super Max in a great position. If he can keep the car on the road this time. Very, very quick in qualifying, of course. So he's got the pace. But again, he loses out off the line. This time only loses 1 place, but he's back in 3rd. He was in 3rd last time, he lost out. Everyone through turn 1 cleanly, which is a good start. Manos 1 is going to be the one to watch. He's got a lot of work to do from the back there. I'll try and catch up with Jay if I get a chance in between races, mate. So Manos 1 in 12th place at the moment. Jack had already made up a couple of places up into 9th. 3 tenths behind Bocciano, who is just behind Sturpan. So Sosi leads away, 8 tenths of a second clear of Macrable. It was until Max, Super Max, moves up into 2nd. This time he's got a point to prove. He was on pole for race number 1 and had a little wobble and found himself moving way back down the order. This time he's doing much, much better. Toretto is 7 tenths clear. 7 tenths behind, should I say, Supermax now. Made his way around. Tom Macrable dropping down the order. What can't you say? Why is it glitched? Everything's looking perfect at this end, my friend. Perfect at this end. There is a little bit of there's lag in the lobby, but other than that, it's all right. Oh, it's okay now. Okay, don't know what's going on there. There is quite a lot of lag in the lobby, but that's not me. Right, Quetzal Coat at the back of the pack. Manos 1 has made up 1 place up into 11th. This is a bit of a longer race. So everyone's starting on the hard compound tyres, aren't they? Yeah, I think they'll run them for a little bit longer than they did last time, for whatever reason. For me, I think it's all about how long can you stay on the track without pitting. So you pick up a bit of damage here. You've got to kind of weigh up the options, whether it's worth losing the 35-40 seconds in the pits to repair that damage over the sort of 3, 4, 5 tenths you might lose per lap. And you've got to do that math on the fly as well. You've got to make a decision pretty quickly whether you go in straight away and repair or whether you take that time loss. It is 15 laps, so it's not a huge amount of time to lose over that kind of period. So if you do damage the car, you have that to think about. Tyre wear is obviously a big factor here, as with the fuel consumption. As you can see, they're already burned through a quarter of a tank of fuel, just 2 laps in. But Sosi holding on in the lead of this race. The Serbian driver is ahead of Max, Super Max, who has about half a second back from Sosi at the moment, and they're pulling away from Toretto. We're seeing a very similar scenario that we saw in race number 1. In race 1 we saw the front two pull away from the rest of the packing and give a little bit of a gap back to third, and we're seeing that same thing here. Max tucked in beautifully behind the rear wing of the NSX ahead of Sosi. Not close enough to make a move this time, but if you can hang on through 130R into the Casio triangle, and obviously make sure you don't clonk into the back of him, of course, but good exit out of here, and on the power quickly, with some slipstream, we could see a move into turn 1, and Sosi getting a little bit, he's either a little bit squirrely, or that was lag, I can't really tell. But Max, with fastest lap, very briefly, until Sturpan puts in a 1:55.6, and says, thank you very much, I'm having that fastest lap. And Max not able to get the power down quite quick enough there, and make the move on Sosi. Excuse me. He is all over the back of him though, and for when you've got a driver, you know that the driver behind you is quicker. When you've got a driver like Max behind you, he knows to put his car on pole, and finished ahead of you in the last race as well. It's quite disconcerting in the end. You've got to kind of, you've got to keep your wits about you, because you want to still be quick, and you want to still be racing, but you want to make sure that the guy behind you hasn't got away through, and that means that often you might have to change your line and take a different line than you were originally planning to do. But also you've got to think that this guy is behind you. One mistake, one little error, one missed braking zone, one missed apex, and you're going to give up that position. And Max, a little bit tighter through there, looking for a better exit, doesn't quite get it, but still putting the pressure on Sosi here. We're on lap 3 of 15 here at Suzuka. This is round 1, Lobby G of the 15th GTFusion Team World Championship. And Sosi goes wide, gets a bit squirrely, and Super Max, through he goes into the lead of this race. Sosi having a run on Super Max, side by side. They head down to 130R. Max has to tuck in behind, so Sosi gets that position back. The back of Max's car getting very squirrely, gets on the grass, but he does hold it. They break down into the Casio triangle for the third time, and that is a penalty. He went a little bit outside the track limits, did Max, give himself a half-second penalty, and that is now going to give the driver behind, who is Toretto, a really, really good opportunity. And that's if Toretto doesn't make the move now. Sturpan one side, Toretto the other. He's getting sandwiched, and Super Max drops down to 4th as Sturpan makes the move round the outside of Super Max and makes the move on Toretto, while Toretto is up the inside of Super Max. What a move that was. Great racing for these drivers to get that move done either side of Super Max, and Sturpan gets his way up into second place, 1.1 seconds. So we've got Sosi in the lead, Serbian driver, 1.2 seconds clear of the Greek driver Sturpan from the HKRT racing team. Toretto half a second back in third. He made the move on Super Max. Super Max is still trying to find a way through him, but and he's going very, very wide. Squirrely again. Does that give Tom a move on him? Tom gets a run on him out of there. Up the hill they go. Tom just looking up the inside, but he knows he's going to get this position back from Max. He's going for the old switcheroo. Not really on that side, or was it? It was! He makes a little switcheroo. He's up into 4th, and this is only going to get worse for Max, because he's still got to serve that half-second penalty, and that's going to allow behind him the Bocchiana to close that gap on him, and he's going to serve that penalty. It's a brutal, brutal place to have a penalty line here, and we'll see now that Bocchiana 1.5 seconds. Watch how when Supermax serves this penalty, and here we go, serving it now, just how much time he loses. It was 1.5 seconds a gap, and it's already down to, it's heading to 130R. So it's costing over a second in time. A 1.5 second, a half second penalty costs you over double what the penalty is. So careful when you're picking them up. So Bocchiana now getting a little bit closer, but he's got Jackal crawling all over him. Jackal wants that 6th place, and he's up the inside. He's going to make the move up the inside into turn 1, and under braking just makes that move and makes it count very well. Jackal with the overtake up to 6th place. Macrable, he is looking for a way around Bocciano next. That's his next target. 9/10 of a second is the gap back to, well, it's actually 1.4 seconds now. Half a second back to Nico of the OMR Racing team. French driver is half a second behind Macrable and sticking with him. 1.1 seconds ahead of Massey, running in 10th position. He's 1.2 seconds clear of Quetzalcoatl, the Mexican driver. Half a second up from Manos 1. Manos 1 won the opening race. Hasn't been able to cut through the field in quite the same way that we've seen Jackal do. Jackal, of course, started on the back of the grid alongside him and finished second in race number 1. And Jackal just finding ways to carve that car forward. His next target, of course, is Max, Super Max. So there is Saucy, half a second clear of Sturpan, who's holding on in there. Now that top 3, top 4, all very close at the moment. Less than 1 second separates the top 3. 9/10 of a second separated at the moment. 1.1 seconds back to Tom. So the same distance between Toretto and Tom as we have between Saucy and Toretto for that front 3. And we'll see this front 3 now heading into the Casio Triangle. We'll go on board with Toretto, as you can see. As Sturpan pulls off into the pits, Toretto decides to stay out. So Sturpan, Tom, Supermax, Jackal, Bocciano all go into the pits on, where are we, lap 6 of 15 on those to get rid of those hard compound tyres. Now, the mediums cannot do 9 laps on the mediums. So, and they're going to obviously have to use the mediums. So are they going to run 2 medium stints? Are they going to run mediums, then maybe softs later on towards the end? Interesting to see what sort of strategy people employ. Saucy stays out, Toretto stays out. The tyres are looking okay. Nico is doing a really good job of looking after his tyres and actually could stay out for a couple more laps just yet. He's done a really good job, as has Manos. So that would explain why Manos stayed at the back of the pack. He wasn't putting huge loads through those hard compound tyres. He's playing the long game. He wants to make sure that he can outlast the cars ahead of him and win it in the pits. Jackal's gone for the approach of overtaking people and making moves that way. Manos is going for the other approach, which is let everybody pit before you, make some room, and then just open up that gap as you move up through the order, having not have to make an overtake or worry about the potential for crashage. So Jackal comes back out of the pits on those medium compound tyres, which means the times will start to drop. Very, very solid in terms of performance zone. Low to mid 57s on those hard compound tyres. We'll see those times tumbling now for the GTC driver, the Gran Turismo Greek community driver. This is one of the wonderful things about Gran Turismo in general, but particularly GTFusion, GT Champions, is the kind of variety in nationalities. The Serbian driver Saucy into the pits. We've then got 2 French drivers, second and third, Toretto and Nico briefly, as Manos 1 moves into the lead of this race now. And he's going to do a couple more laps before we see him go anywhere near the pits, which is an interesting strategy for him. Is he able to one-stop this race? That's the question. I can't see how this could be one-stopped, but maybe he feels that he can. If he can do 2 more laps on these tyres, he certainly puts himself into the realms of possibility of one stop in this race. So 2 Greek drivers now lead, Manos 1 and Jackal. Supermax from Italy and Tom also from Italy, running in 3rd and 4th. Sturpan, Greek driver, ahead of the Polish driver Bocciano. 6.9 seconds clear of another Italian in Massey. 2.7 to Toretto and Nico, 2 French drivers. The Serbian Saucy in the pits at the moment. He's been in the pits for ages. Why has he been in there so long as Macrable comes through into the 11th place? But now we see Saucy coming out. He's running the hard compound tyres again. So he's gone for a long second stint. Now he did 6, there'll be 6.6, and then he'll have 3 laps to do on the medium tyres at the end with low fuel. I tell you what, this could really. Now bear in mind, he wasn't the leader of this race, he's now plumb last. But strategies are very, very different across the board. Manos won. Now his rear tyres looking a little bit ropey. I think we'll see him come in here on lap 7. So I don't. It's not going to be a one-stopper for him. But he has managed to go longer and deeper into this race than anybody else, which always gives you a bit of an advantage. How much of an advantage gives him, we'll see. I mean, he's 14 seconds clear. That's a good start. He's going to have to come in now. I don't think those rear tyres are not going to last him another lap. And he does. He comes into the pits. So we'll see Jackal come through. Jackal will take the lead of this race. But he's on the medium tyres. He's going to have to stop. Of course he's going to have to stop again. Everyone's going to have to stop again. But it's how long that stop is for. It'll be interesting to see what Manos decides to do. That's the fastest lap there for Jackal on that chase down. He'll take the lead. Max up into second position. Back into second position. So he's actually been jumped by Jackal in that kind of pit window. Tom in third. Head Sturpan, who's back out of that top 3 in 4th place. The Greek driver. Bocciano in 5th. Massi 6th. Toretto in 7th. Nico in 8th. Manos 1 still in the pits. It's a very, 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 very long fueling time. It's about 2 litres per second to refuel. You are in there for an absolute age. Really are. And I know he's gone for the kind of French GTFusion badge, which is really interesting, particularly as he's a Greek driver. And I think there is actually a Greek version of it available. And Manos 1 comes out in last place. So he's back. So he was 12th. Made his way through the order when everybody pit. Now finds himself back in 12th place. But remember, he pit much later than everybody else. So he's on those medium tyres. He's going to do 2 stints on mediums. Can he make the fuel last? Can his next stop be a quick splash and dash? Because that would make the difference. So there is your race leader. He's pulled out 1 second lead over Max, who's holding his own up there in the top 2 now. Bad race for him. He started on pole in race number 1 and found himself in trouble off the bat. So 1.1 seconds clear is Jackal at the moment. Max 3.4 ahead of Tom. So the gap's starting now just to open up a little bit as we settle into this kind of midpoint of the race. And this is where we'll see drivers just kind of jostling for sort of position to line themselves up for the final charge at the end of the race. This is where they'll kind of settle into a bit of a rhythm. If they can put in the fastest lap, of course they will, but that's not going to be priority at this stage of the race. This stage of the race is about kind of getting yourself set up where you want to be on the racetrack before you go in for your pit stop and your final push. And it also is about looking after your tyres and your fuel a little bit here, because the medium tyres don't last very long. So you're going to be thinking about when you're next going in and how that's going to work with where you come out on the racetrack, of course. So the Greek driver Sturpan running in 4th position. He's 3 seconds back from the Italian Tom. 9.7 seconds clear of Bocciano of Poland for the EES Racing team. 2 seconds clear of Massi, the Italian driver who's got at the moment some company, and in the form of the 2 orange liveried French cars of Toretto and Nico of the OMR Racing team. These 2 are going to work together and putting some pressure on Massi in 6th place. Quetzal Coat, we haven't seen much of him, the Mexican driver, for GT Mexico, of course. 17.3 seconds back from Nico. He's in a little bit of a niche on the racetrack right now, because he can't really see ahead. He can't see anyone ahead of him. You can see that. His rivals are 17 seconds up the road, going into 130 to the sort of double apex left-hander. But then you look behind and can't really see Manos 1, who's 7 seconds back. Might just get a glimpse of him as he goes down the straight. So coming around this double apex left-hander now, nowhere near the apex even time there actually. So he's on the power, and we should see, as he's heading down, we'll see the distance. Well, I don't know if we will actually, because where the road just curves round. Will he get to 130R before we see anyone else? I think, yeah. So even looking in his mirrors, there's no one for him to see. There's just no other cars on the racetrack anywhere near him. So he's looking at the timing screen as his only indication. Unless, of course, he's on VR, then he hasn't got a bleeding clue. There is Manos 1, the winner of the sprint race. He's running in 10th position, 5.7 seconds behind Pretzel Cody. He's closing that gap as he puts in a 1.7 seconds quicker than his previous fastest lap. Fastest lap still with HKRT Stepan with a 1 of 54.1. No slouches. Stepan was in race with Stepan quite a lot of black flag. He races in a number of black flag racing competitions along with a few other of the HKRT boys. He's obviously running in 11th place. He wasn't at the end of this race, and after his incredibly long pit stop finds himself now running in 11th. But looking at the cars in front and when they've got a pit, he's certainly going to make several positions, and he did fuel to the brim. He literally filled it up until there was no space left in that tank at all. Macklemore, he'll be coming in the pits this lap. His tyres go, oh, and he's in the wall, 1.5 second penalty, and with damage to both the suspension and the front aero of that car. And you can't park that there, mate. I have got that somewhere. There we go. There we go. So the Jackal in the pits for his second stop, as is Max, as is Tom, as is Sturpan. Bocchiano, what's he going to do? Is he coming in as well? He is coming in as well. So that will put Nico and Toretto, that will free them into the lead of this race. The two OMR drivers, two French drivers, take the lead, 1 and 2. I don't know if they have team orders or if it's every man for himself. We're about to find out if Toretto can put the squeeze on Nico. Excuse me. Manos 1 comes through in third. Remember, he won the first race with fastest lap, so he's clearly got good pace here. He's 23 seconds behind the two French drivers as we stand. 24.2 seconds off the lead. Jackal exits the pits in fourth. Now, bearing in mind that 3 cars ahead will all need to pit. Nico and Toretto imminently, of course. We'll see Jackal moving up through the order. Max is 2.2 seconds behind him. They're racing to the line now on the medium compound tyres. As is Tom, 1.8 behind Max. And Sosi. Now, Sosi's run the hard compound tyres twice. He does need to pit for some mediums. But when does he do that? Is he going to hang on much longer? Or, I really don't know. I really don't know if he's going to hang on to the very end and just do maybe one lap on those medium compound tyres. He's certainly got enough tyre there to maybe go to the end. But of course he has to run that medium tyre. So Sturpan's on those mediums. He's going to run to the end of the race as well. He's currently the fastest man on the racetrack with a 1:54.1, which is a pretty darn quick lap around Suzuka. There's the two French drivers into the pits, Nico and Toretto. Identical fuel, almost identical tyres. Should be in for exactly the same amount of time, unless one of them's really brave fuel-wise. But you would imagine they've been training together. They would have very similar strategic plans. Manos 1, 22 seconds back into the pits, and here comes Jackal. He's going to take the lead of this race. He's on the soft compound tyres. He has already run 2 compounds, so he can, if he wishes, run these softs. The question is whether he can run them to the end of this race, because we saw in qualifying that they really were only viable for one quick lap and then an in and an out lap. He's going to be asking those tyres to do 5 laps. And I think it's a big, big question that he's asking of those tyres. And the question is, can you survive? And I personally think the answer is, hell no, we can't. But we'll see. Those tyres may... Listen, I am very often proved wrong. Many, many, many times I'm proved wrong. And it could well be that I'm proved wrong yet again by Jackal. But I stand by what I've seen of these tyres, and I don't think they're going to last till the end of this race. Max, Super Max, the Italian driver, he's on the medium, he's going to run to the end of this race. Now, if the Jackal, those tyres do go off, then Max is in a great position to redeem himself after a poor race number 1. And that's not good, because Jackal, despite being on really good soft tyres, makes a mistake, and Max into the lead of this race. And Jackal now is going to be dropping way, way back. It's going to give Max a fundamentally large lead. 3.2 seconds now. He leads over Jackal. And that gap is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger as Jackal falls more and more into the loving arms of Max's compatriots in the modulo car. In third place, Jackal goes into the pits to get rid of those tyres, and that's going to cost him some places, some big, big places. Manos 1 up to 5th place, he's going to run to the end of this race. So running at the back has worked out perfectly for him as he goes up into 4th. Now, 3.2 seconds is his gap to Sturpan. Sturpan's on older, less fresh tyres, but they should last without a problem. So Manos 1 has got to do it on the racetrack. He has put in a 54.7, that's his fastest lap. Max Super Max is now with a 153.9. He's the fastest man in Japan right now. Nico, the lead of the 2 French drivers, 1.7 seconds ahead of his teammate, compatriots, and I'm sure friend. I'm saying friend, they might not even know each other, they might just be racing for the same team and not actually speak to each other. Who knows? 1.2 seconds is the gap back to Jackal. Were those soft tyres a wise idea? The answer to that question is absolutely not. Bad strategy call that for Jackal. Did he think he could take it to the end? That's an interesting line that Bocciano was just taking through there. That wasn't part of the racetrack. You can't park that there, so. Quetzalcoatl in 9th place, 10.8 seconds back from Bocciano. That gap did come down a little bit when Bocciano decided to go cross-country. 2 seconds back to Massey, who's got a 10.5 second lead over one of 2 ESR drivers. Saucy is in 11th and Macrable in 12th position. And that's where they will stay, I think, as Max pulls out a huge, huge lead. He's now 7.2 seconds clear. Tom is running well there. The Italian driver is ahead of Sturpan, 3.2 seconds ahead. Sturpan taking a little bit out of him here, but he's got Manos 1 closing him down. The gap down to 1.6 seconds. Sturpan's last lap was a 1:55.3. Manos did a 1:53.6 to take the fastest lap of this race, and he is eyeing himself another podium. He, of course, won the first race, the 7th lap sprint race. He's now looking at winning this 15-lap endurance race here at Suzuka, and this is the penultimate lap in the 15th season of GTFusion. This is for those who are just joining us, this is round 1 Lobby G. We're using the phenomenal Nissan, not Nissan, Honda. Why did I say Nissan? It should say Honda. The Honda NSX GT500. I will change that because I have an improved one. It's a bit weird that it says that because it should be. I'll find the correct one right now because I do have it. It was a typo that I changed the other day. It's the correct one. Honda NSX GT500 2008. We're at Suzuka for round number 1. The reason they put this car is because It's a 2008 car, and GTFusion started on Gran Turismo 5 in 2008. That's simple. So Manos 1's got that gap down to 1.1 seconds. He was, on the previous lap, he was almost 2 seconds quicker than Sturpan. Can he do that again on this last lap and to close that gap and take third position? So there's your race leader. He's on the final lap of the race into the S's. He goes 8.5 seconds clear of Tom, the other Italian driver. Sturpan is closing that gap, 1.3 seconds. Manos is closing down on Sturpan. It's all a go to the end of this race. Tyre-wise, Tom and Sturpan in a worse position than Manos. Manos can really push on those tyres. They did a 54.4 was his last lap. Sturpan did up the pace with 54.666, the number of the beast. Please don't shut me down for copyright infringement. It didn't sound anything like the actual song. Nico in 5th. He's 4.7 clear of Jackal, who made a mistake with those soft compound tyres. Didn't work out for him. 1.4 clear of Toretto, excuse me. He's 4.9 clear of Bocciano. He's 10.3 ahead of the Mexican Quetzalcoatl. 4.2 back to Massey. 5.8 to Sosi. And then 47 seconds back to Macroball, who's not having the greatest of races this time out. But there is your race leader, Max, Super Max 79. All went horribly wrong from in race number 1. He did qualify on pole, showed a phenomenal pace to qualify on pole, but didn't have a great start, lost a couple of positions early on, and then decided to go sideways. I'm sure it wasn't a conscious decision, although his tyre's now looking ropey, but he's only got a couple of corners left to go. He should get this car home and take the big... Oh, it's gone wrong! He's gone sideways! Can he get the car back up and running? Because here comes the other Italian. Oh, just in time. Supermax gets that car back up and running, but he's under significant pressure. Here comes Tom as they race to the line. Excuse me. Max just takes it from Tom. Sturban in 3rd. Manos 1 in 4th. Nico in 5th. Jackal in 6th place. Toretto in 7th. That was squeaky bum time there for Max. Bocciano in 8th. Quetzalcoatl will come home in 9th position, 10 seconds back. Eventually, oh my god, I bet Max let out a little bit of poop when he went spinning there. Panic stations. Massey home in 10th. 3.5 back to Sosi from Serbia. And last, but by no means least, is the other ESR driver, Macroball. He'll come home in 12th. But there is Max, Super Max. And I'll tell you what, he absolutely binned it in the Casio Triangle. And the 8-second gap that he had going into the Casio Triangle was just 0.08 of a second when he and his teammate crossed the line. Very, very close. And it was almost moments, but he did survive and will live to fight another day. So we're supposed to have a 10-minute break here. However, we are already running something like 25 minutes late. I'm hoping that they don't do the 10-minute break. But if you post it up, obviously, then we're going to have a rethink about how long we can continue broadcasting for, because the delays in the lobby have kept us going longer than we should have done. We should at this stage. This should be about 5 to 9. So we're about 25 minutes behind schedule with all the issues. So he is calling a 10-minute break, which is a real pain in the arse. But it is what it is. So I'll be back shortly.